Hello, good morning. I am so excited to be filming today for two reasons. One, because I am doing something new on my channel that I'm excited to try out. And two, because I am coming to you on my brand new Sony camera. I love it so much. The color is so much better. It's more compact, more portable, all of that. I have been watching a lot of booktube. I've been watching a lot of Gabby Reads. Katie is reading a lot of reading vlogs. And I thought, you know what? I want to give that a try. So in this vlog, I am going to be reading Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. And I'm so excited to read this because if you didn't know, Ali Hazelwood is my comfort author. I love her work so much. I have all of her romances. I know she has another book called Checkmate, but I think that one's a YA novel, but I don't have that one. But she just like pumps them out. She has another one coming out in a year, I think. She has this werewolf romance coming out. I'm on board for all of it. She could write a phone book and I would read it. I'm going into this completely blind. I don't really know what this is about, but I'm guessing that she is in STEM and he is big. So yeah, that's gonna be on the agenda today. We're going to be starting this. I also have a lot of errands I wanna do, so I'm gonna be taking you with me. It has been so hot in Los Angeles lately though, that I'm probably going to regret how many outdoor activities I have, but we're gonna do it. So let's go. Just got back to my car. I did some work, submitted to some agents because this is a side note, but I have written my own book, a romance as well. So I'm working on trying to get that published. I got a avocado toast to go because of course I did. And I read the prologue and one chapter of Love Theoretically. From what I understand, what's going on in the story, I should probably hold it over here. We are following Elsie Edwards, is that her name? Elsie Hanaway. And she is in STEM. I don't remember exactly what she does just yet. I mean, I've only read one chapter. And she fake girlfriends, basically. So she's on this website where she poses as a fake girlfriend for men who just don't want to date right now. And so she is with her favorite client in the beginning. His name is Greg. And she's going to, I think, a family function at his house. And she runs into his brother there, whose name is Jack, right? Yes. Jack Smith. And Jack is a professor. Again, don't remember what he does specifically. It seems like he doesn't know that she is also in STEM. He just knows her as his brother's girlfriend, I think. But they meet at this family function and there's, you know, some tension there. And it seems like he's already suspicious that Elsie isn't actually his brother's girlfriend. Another thing that I thought was interesting is that Elsie is diabetic, which I haven't heard anything like that be mentioned in a romance novel yet. She's already kind of relatable to me because she has said two things that I'm like, so true. Not to kill anyone's buzz, but I'm starting to suspect that life might not always turn out the way you want. And I find that people like me better if they don't have to expend emotional energy on me. I perpetually feel like I'm bothering people, so I related to that super hard. I think I'm gonna have a tracker for how many times Elsie says how big Jack is. So far, it's only been like twice, which is, I feel like, on the lower end, because usually by now, the main character has said how big the guy is at least 4 or 5 times. But honestly, I don't mind. I'm into it. Jack so far seems to be kind of a silent type, sort of mysterious, and of course he's very tall, and he has big biceps. He has like a forearm tattoo. I think you can see it on the cover. I feel like I've met guys like him before, especially when she said, "I'm a pro at picking up cues, but Jack, he gives me nothing." I am pretty similar to that. You know, I'm pretty good at reading people, and I've been out with a few guys where there's just nothing. I can't read them. So I feel like I understand Jack a bit, and I am liking Elsie so far. Elsie, so far, is my favorite name out of all of the Ali Hazelwood names. I'm gonna go home now and attempt to read some more, and then I'm going to be going to the mall with my friend Erica to find a bridesmaid's dress, because I'm gonna be in her wedding party. And fingers crossed with that. Oh, hello. It is the next day. It is 7:53 p.m. I clearly did not vlog anything else yesterday. Every time I meet up with Erica, she and I end up doing way more than we planned, and we ended up hanging out at the mall and grabbed some sushi, and then we came back here, had some rosé, and just chatted and laughed about life, and it was a really good time. But I want to update you on my progress in Love Theoretically. I am now on page 103. Yes, chapter 7. And after reviewing the footage from yesterday, I kind of realized that I was a bit scattered when I was trying to start this book, and so I decided to go back and reread the prologue in the first chapter, because I want to give Ali Hazelwood all of my attention. And I know that I said that Elsie only referenced how big and hulking Jack is 3 times in the first chapter, but actually I went back and reread it, and she references his size physically 6 times. And as you can see, I've started annotating, and all of the orange tabs are times in which she has referenced his size, and the purple are times that I laughed out loud. I also started keeping some notes as I'm reading through to better articulate my reading experience for you guys. And I think on retrospect after yesterday, at first I kind of realized that I wasn't really feeling the chemistry between Jack and Elsie, because I wasn't sure why. Maybe other people picked up on that too reading it, but he's just kind of there. Elsie is way more interesting of a character than Jack is, but again, it's early days. I'm only 103 pages in. But so far, in my opinion, the most compelling thing about this book is Elsie's relationship with her family, in particular her mother and her 2 brothers. There's this part early on in which she reveals that her parents were annoyed that Elsie ended up having diabetes, because they were like, oh, you know, it's like, of course the one child who doesn't have any problems ends up also having a problem, because apparently her 2 brothers are kind of menaces and they're constantly fighting. But I was like, it's not her fault that she has diabetes. And you know, Elsie says that too in the book. She's like, well, they know it's not my fault. It's just, it's expensive. So I try to hide my my need for medicine and, you know, insulin and stuff like that, so I don't annoy my parents. I'm like, her parents sound really shitty. Not even to mention that later on, Elsie's telling her mom about this job interview that she has with MIT, by the way, and her mother just doesn't care. She's just like, oh, you already have a job, Elsie. Why would you try to get another job? And she's just so supremely not impressed with the fact that Elsie has a PhD and is a doctor. And also there's this running character theme with Elsie that she tailors herself to the people she's around and the environments that she's in order to get people to like her. or for her to feel safe. And it's so clearly something that manifested in her because of her parents. Because it's almost like her mother needed her to be the mother, because she constantly asked her to take care of her brothers, and it's just like, Elsie's not their mother, you are. Do your job. There's also this part in one of the chapters in which we find out that Elsie's roommate is also doing the fake dating thing on the faux app. She kind of mentions this guy she goes out with who doesn't really date and says something about a scientist and stuff like that. And I am making a prediction here that that is Jack. That at some point there's going to be a fake dating double feature in which Elsie and Greg go out with her roommate Cece and Jack. And it's going to be this whole like, oh my god, what are you doing? Like, you're so good looking. Why do you need a fake girlfriend and all that stuff? Because it's been said in the book that Jack is very handsome, but he just doesn't date for some reason. There's this tension built up right now between these two different branches in physics, theoretical physicists and somebody else. I can't remember what it is. Jack, I'm not really feeling so much, just because I feel like he's been kind of unprofessional. You know, she comes in for this interview and he just focuses the entire time on her lies that she's telling his brother in her personal life, and I'm like, dude, time and place. Still, so far, Adam's my favorite. Ali Hazelwood, leading man, but I'm sure he'll get better. So now I think I'm going to take a little break, maybe have some dinner, and then I will get back to reading.
He would get these far-off looks in his eye, and he would say, life doesn't always turn out the way you plan. I just wish I'd realized.
She said that in the book too.
Oh, you scared me.
Sorry.
Good morning, Jack.
I guess I don't remember meeting you.
Well, it's probably because we've never met.
Okay, it is a little later in the night. It is about 11 p.m. I made a quick little salad kit for dinner with this like chicken fried tofu. I don't know. It's from Whole Foods and I thought it looked interesting, so wasn't the best, but quick little dinner. And then I threw on While You Were Sleeping because Jack is actually one of my favorite men's names. And of course, since I'm reading about a main character named Jack, I was like, why not? Let's throw it on. But Jack in Love Theoretically just became maybe on par with Adam Carlson in my mind. I'm on page 160, so I'm at chapter 12. And in chapter 11, he finally sort of tells her what he actually thinks of her. I'm gonna read you a little bit of what he said. I've never seen him so, happy's not the right word, but he seems at ease. And as the night goes on, I can't stop looking at her and I realize something. She's hypervigilant. Constantly thinking 2 steps ahead, anticipating others' needs like people are equations that need to be solved in real time. It's subtle, but it's there, and he shrugs, free hand coming up to scratch the back of his neck like he's still puzzled. That night I go home, go to bed, cannot sleep till I admit to myself that I'm jealous or envious, a mix. Again, like I was saying earlier, we know that he has been in love with her since the start. I mean, that's usually how it goes in Ali Hazelwood's novels. I might keep reading more tonight, but I think for now this is gonna be my last update of the day. Oh, one last thing, you know how I'm doing all these tabs? Well, I actually ran out of both purple and orange tabs and I just bought them today, but I will say I ran out of the purple ones first and then the orange ones, so I don't know, I just thought that was funny. So I'm laughing more and finding things I'm really enjoying more than she's talking about how big he is. I guess I'm gonna wash my face and get ready for bed and maybe watch some reading vlogs, maybe play a little Stardew Valley, I don't know. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. Good morning or afternoon, I guess. It is 12:28 p.m. It's Monday, July 24th. And I ended up not reading anything more last night. I ended up editing this vlog and watching some Katie is reading and went to bed. So today is a pretty busy day. I have company coming. I'm picking up my mom from the airport at 4 p.m. So I'm gonna do some chores around the house. I might get in some reading before then, we'll see. But while I do my cleaning, I'm gonna go ahead and listen to Sense and Sensibility, there we go, on Audible. The movie adaptation with Kate Winslet and Alan Rickman, Emma Thompson is one of my favorite movies of all time, so I figured I better read the book too. So I'm gonna go crack open a cold liquid death and get started on cleaning. Oh, and by the way, it's still really hot in LA. I think it's like 85 degrees today. Hello, it is August 1st at 1:09 p.m. We jumped a week, I know, in my updating, but my mom came to visit me and we had a really nice time, so there wasn't really a whole lot of time for reading, but I wanted to let you know that I read a lot more of Love Theoretically last night. I am now on page 316, so I have less than 100 pages left, and I'm loving it so much. It's giving me everything that I want and know that Ali Hazelwood will deliver in every single thing that she writes. I finally got to the spicy parts, and as we know, they usually happen about just over 3/4 of the way through, which also means that the conflict is likely to happen next. I'm not looking forward to that part, but there always has to be a conflict in a romance novel. We all know this. I enjoyed the spice in this book. However, something I've noticed in her spicy scenes is that there's always an interruption of some kind, and that's annoying in my opinion. I don't really like the fact that you know, you wait all this time for the two characters to get together, and then they're making out, they're doing, you know, stuff, and then all of a sudden there's like a, wait, what about this? And I don't know, that just bothers me personally. I know not everybody probably feels that way, but for me, if I'm waiting all this time, and I mean, let's be honest, a lot of people read romance for the spice, you know? And it's like, if you're really rooting for the characters and you've waited that long for them to get together, I don't want there to be a hitch. I want them to just do it, you know? But I'm glad that it's still well written and it's still enjoyable. I also wanted to let you know that I finished Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. And I'll just say that I preferred the 1995 movie version. I don't know. I don't think Jane Austen's writing style is for me. I think it's, I mean, it was written in the 17 or 1800s, right? So I think it's a lot of telling and not showing. You know, it's not really an action-based thing. It's basically just a lot of conversations and people going to each other's houses. It's not like, I don't know, it's difficult to explain. Colonel Brandon is my favorite Jane Austen hero, and he is barely in this book. At one point, you know, towards the end, Marianne's mother says, "Oh, joyous news, Colonel Brandon really loves Marianne, and it's the true kind of love." And again, it's telling, not showing. And what I really loved in the movie was that Emma Thompson clearly read the book and adapted it. But in her adaptation, she made Colonel Brandon more prominent. He had a much more screen time. And there's that scene in the movie in which he rescues Marianne from the rain and brings her back to the house and goes and gets her mother and all this stuff. That isn't in the book. And I was so disappointed with that because that's my favorite scene in the entire movie. So I guess I have to thank Emma Thompson for that. And Willoughby, the asshole dude who breaks Marianne's heart, is featured way more in this. Like, in the movie, Colonel Brandon has the big saving scene, right? But in this, Willoughby just comes over and has a really long conversation with Eleanor about Marianne. And I'm just like, I don't care about this dude who was terrible to her. And also, it's probably a product of the time too, but by the end of the chapter, Eleanor is like, you know, I had nothing but hatred for him before, but now I can see that he at least has a heart. He came and apologized or something like that. I'm like, no, throw the whole man out. But anyway, I enjoyed the book. I gave it 3.5 stars, but I definitely prefer the movie. I need to go to Erica's house because my bridesmaid's probably will be. My bridesmaid's dress arrived, and so I need to go to her house and try it on. And she's got to okay it, and then I got to take it to alteration. I need to go to Whole Foods to get some groceries. And I also ran out of tabs for Love Theoretically. So I just started marking the pages instead. So I want to get more tabs. And then when I get home later, I will probably finish this up. Hello, it is a few hours later. It is 6:06 p.m. and I didn't really vlog, well, not really, I didn't vlog anything earlier because it was too hectic and I was just like, it's fine, you know. But everything went well, and I am pleased to say that I have finished Love Theoretically. This was just so sweet. I really, really enjoyed this very much. I feel like this book, out of all of her romances, is the most sincere, the most honest, the most real, if that makes sense. It felt like a really good exploration of the themes of being a people pleaser and sticking up for yourself, being true to what it is that you actually want, being honest with people you love, whether that's your family or people you're dating or your siblings or colleagues, everybody. I actually thought at one point, and this isn't a spoiler because we all know that in romance, virtually every single time, I've never read a romance in which the main character doesn't end up with the love interest. But I really thought for a second that this was going to be an Ali Hazelwood book that ended that way. I thought that it was going to end with Elsie kind of taking a break to do her own thing, and that she and Jack would maybe end up together in the future. But that's not what happened. I remember that earlier in the vlog I said that I thought I was making a prediction that this guy that Cece, her roommate, is talking to, his name was Kirk, that would end up being Jack, and I was wrong. That's not what happened. This book actually managed to surprise me in more ways than I thought, because usually, you know, when I read Ali Hazelwood's books, I'm like, oh, okay, I see. This is what's gonna happen. And, you know, which is not unpleasant for me because, again, her books just make me so happy. You know, even the way the conflict in the end was handled, I thought was done very well. It really made sense why it happened. It wasn't some stupid miscommunication, even though I personally don't mind miscommunication in romance because, I mean, it happens, you know? People have miscommunications. I thought this book had really good aromantic, asexual representation. It wasn't like a main plot point, but it was there, and I thought that was really cool to see because you don't typically see characters who are asexual or aromantic in a romance novel like this. Neither Elsie or Jack are. It's a different character. I would have to say, out of all of Ali Hazelwood's protagonists, Elsie is my favorite, and I really identified with her a lot. And there was a part at the end that I actually cheered out loud because she stuck up for herself in something to do with her family and with her mentor. And it was really, really cool to see a character development like that, because I felt as though Elsie really did a lot of character development in this book. And I can't say that I feel like Ali Hazelwood's other protagonists did the same necessarily. You know, there's just these huge themes of her being scared that if she doesn't like what everybody else likes, or that she doesn't tailor herself to whoever she's with, that they're gonna leave her. And I have felt that in my life too. I mean, it's scary. And also at the end, something Ali Hazelwood did in this book that I thought was really cool, and I didn't discover it until I'd finished the book, but she did a whole bit at the end of, some people pair wine with cheese, I pair Taylor Swift songs with chapters in my book. And I wish that I had seen that while I was reading it, because I would have loved to have listened to the songs that she said as I was reading it, because I love pairing playlists with books. I think it's really a fun thing to do. I also really loved how Jack and Elsie ended up being similar in a way, how they see the world through a similar lens. It's just the wording is different. There's one sentence in this book that really summed up the two of them really well. It's towards the end, and I liked seeing that. And once again, I mean, Ali Hazelwood just knows how to write men who just are absolutely smitten and in love with the main woman, and I just love reading that. And I love how protective and emotionally intelligent they are. And there's something that Jack does at the end of this book that is just, I mean, it's so mature and honest and heartfelt, and I loved reading that as well. The final counter for how many times she mentions his size is 32 times, so do with that what you will. Oh, I also forgot to mention, there was a really cool surprise in this one, that if you are fans of The Love Hypothesis, I think you're really going to enjoy. I can officially say that I've read every single Ali Hazelwood romance. And I love that she is a literal neuroscientist, and this is just like her side gig. It's like, truly, Ali Hazelwood is a great example of you can be and do whatever you want. If I had to rank them, I would say, oh, that's so difficult. I mean, I love all of them. Let's get that straight. These two pretty much tied for first, and then Under One Roof, then Love on the Brain, then Below Zero, and then Stuck With You. So this ordering isn't quite correct, but here you go. I think that is a wrap on this reading vlog. Thank you so much for watching. I had a really fun time making this, and I'm going to be making more reading vlogs. I already have a few planned. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.